We shall fight in the field.
Mit der Akzeptanz der
C'est pas parce que les
vier
Britanniques
Grundfreiheiten und dazu gehört
ont
auch
décidé
die
de sortir qu'ils ne doivent pas être
Freizügigkeit der
associés à ce
Personen.
processus.
Brexit means Brexit.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Brexitometer, coming to you from London, where we have just come out of a pretty rough and long cold snap, but it does seem that the winter is coming to an end. COVID vaccinations are moving along really quickly here in the UK. Dare I say that things look slightly more optimistic than what they used to just a few weeks ago? Well, maybe yes. Of course, the more we get a handle of the crisis and the more we get control of COVID, the more we have time to think about other things as well. Namely, that one major thing that had receded in the background for too long, but now we actually have to learn to live with it. Brexit. So what is life like in the UK living with Brexit? How is this new permanent state of things, perhaps a new permanent state of mind? Let's go see how all of us are coping with this new friend in our daily lives, Brexit. So what has been my first experience with Brexit? Let me tell you a short story. A couple of days ago, I ordered something online as a Valentine's Day gift for my partner. Yes, I am that kind of guy. And the thing was going to be shipped here from the EU. It didn't even occur to me to think that that would be a problem. A couple of days later, I got an email from them telling me, do you still want your order? Because you're probably going to have to pay 20% more on it for some kind of charges. And that's when I thought, whoa, Brexit. So what exactly happens here? The government had told us that we have tariff-free trade between the EU and the UK. Well, it turns out for online orders, you still have to pay, if you're a consumer in the UK and your purchase is coming from the EU, you still have to pay VAT, some customs charges, and even some new handling charges that shipping companies apply to you. Personally, I had the flexibility to tell them, you know what, you can actually ship it somewhere inside the EU, so I can be spared the charges. But not all British consumers can do that. There's already reports of British consumers who go online, buy something from a British website, but they don't know, perhaps even the website itself doesn't know, that the thing will be shipped in from the EU. So that already shows you all those kind of small disruptions in everyday life. COVID has actually made those things be not that important. People don't really notice all that much because, of course, we have much more serious things in our mind right now. But expect as the reality of the new Brexit reality bites and people realize that life will not be exactly as it would be before, for people to start complaining. So what issues are people talking about when they talk about Brexit? There have been a few glitches. In the news you can read about the fishing industry complaining. Turns out the deal creates problems for them. Of course, this is the whole vaccination issue, the vaccination crisis, AstraZeneca, which then spilled over into Northern Ireland. Northern Ireland is still a pretty much an open question. There's a lot of things left to sort out in the way that Brexit will be implemented. Definitely Brexit is not done as the government said when they signed the deal. But I would like to talk about one other issue that is kind of showing you how Brexit really touches upon all conceivable aspects of life and the economy. And one such problem is music touring. The touring industry and the music industry in the UK has just realized that due to Brexit, British artists will find it very, very difficult to tour Europe from now on. The problem is not acute because of COVID, so of course we don't have concerts and we don't have tours, but they have now realized that when they're back in business, it will actually be very difficult to tour. And the reason is that according to the agreement, British artists will have to be asking for visas or work permits for every single European country that they want to touring. Suddenly you have articles by Elton John and by Tom York of Radiohead in the press complaining about it. Even Ronan Keating of Boyzone, if any of you guys remember the 90s, he's in the game as well. And they're asking, why is this? The British government says that it's because the EU did not make a good enough offer to allow for touring, even though the British government wanted to ensure that. The EU accuses the British government of not accepting the terms. So the reality is that if the EU were to allow British acts to tour Europe, then the UK would have to also allow European acts and European workers to come into the UK without visas. And this undermines the British government's commitment to end freedom of movement. Therefore, all sides are basically now in a standstill. The touring industry is asking things from the British government, essentially to revisit the agreement, and that is very, very difficult. So you should expect Elton John to be talking much more about Brexit moving forward. Now, I know what you might think. This can't possibly go on forever, right? At some point, governments and businesses and the economy and the UK and the EU will learn to live with this. We'll settle down into a new normality. We're going to go through those teething problems, as the British government calls all those implementation glitches of the Brexit agreement. Actually, things don't look exactly like that, even politically. And I must admit, I am a bit surprised, because I did think that once an agreement was reached, Brexit would kind of recede in the background as a political issue. Well, it turns out that some habits don't really die that easily. This is a government and this is a political party that has learned to do war with Europe for 30 years. Therefore, the instinct to keep presenting the EU as some kind of an adversary is still there. The latest indication of that is the mini reshuffle in the Boris Johnson government, which made David Frost its Brexit tsar, as it were. It's the guy who's going to be responsible for all relations with the EU and the implementation of the Brexit agreement. Now, of course, we know David Frost because he was the chief negotiator of the UK with the EU. He was the person sitting next to Michel Barnier, and he is a person who is very, very well known to really believe in hard Brexit, to really believe in independence and sovereignty from the EU. So having David Frost inside Westminster in the UK, very near to Boris Johnson, making sure that all those things are implemented in a way that the maximum distance between the UK and the EU is maintained, ensures that we are still going to have a pretty confrontational Brexit moving forward. So this was another Brexitometer, the getting used to the new normal Brexitometer, a world where we have to get used to vaccinations and face masks and rapid COVID tests and paying 20% VAT if you want to order something from the EU coming into the UK. I have a confession to make. Right after the Brexit agreement, I was kind of thinking, okay, are we going to have now enough things to discuss about Brexit? Isn't this really over? But I was really so naive. Actually, this thing just never seems to be over. There's always new issues to discuss. There's always new things coming up. There's always new problems coming up. And with this government, UK-EU relations are going to be slightly confrontational for sure moving forward. We still have lots of things to discuss in the immediate future. We have to see how the vaccination wars will play out. We have to see how British people going on holiday for the first time under a Brexit regime this summer will look like. We'll have to see how the Northern Ireland question will play out in the future. So lots of things to chew on, and rest assured the Brexitometer will always be here to give you all the news and all the updates. Until next time, you can always send me your questions using the hashtag Brexitometer on all social media. Until we meet again, take care.
Mit der Akzeptanz der
C'est pas parce que les
vier
Britanniques
Grundfreiheiten und dazu gehört
ont
auch
décidé
die
de sortir qu'ils ne doivent pas être
Freizügigkeit der
associés à ce
Person.
processus.
Brexit means Brexit.